Hi, I'm Annie from Fiscal, and today we have a very exciting video prepared for you. We are talking to Adetola Freeman, the technical market analyst at FBS, about his views on Trump's policies and their effect on the markets. And this is obviously something that's top of mind for many traders. So enjoy the video. Remember that Forex trading is risky and that most traders lose money. This video is for educational purposes only. So today I'm joined by my colleague, Chris. Most of you will know him for his analysis and also from our podcast, Let's Talk Forex. So welcome, Chris.
Yeah, thanks, Alison. I'm really excited about this video we're doing today. It's going to be really good to talk to Adetola about Trump's policies. As you said, it's the top of a lot of traders' minds at the moment. And we're already seeing the rumors and the press leaks that we're seeing from Trump's team are injecting a lot of volatility into the market. And I think it's probably going to be a pretty exciting couple of months. So welcome, Adetola. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, Chris and Alison. It's good to be here.
Yeah, fantastic. And thanks for joining us in what is a momentous occasion for the markets. We've seen since Trump's when won the election, we've seen the markets go pretty crazy. You know, the Trump trade in November and all of that through the crypto, everything we're seeing. But maybe you can tell us, what are the key market expectations for Trump's economic policies as he takes office, and how do you expect them to impact the Forex market?
All right. Like you said, it's been pretty momentous. We've seen massive volatility starting November. We've seen cryptos like Bitcoin, we've seen them surge all the way through past all-time highs. And I think some of the most memorable or remarkable policies that we're going to see take effect is policies regarding, tax cuts, all right, especially for large corporations. We're seeing more talk about transparency on government spending. All right. And we're also getting to hear a lot more about less strictness. All right. Or let me say, more accommodating policies. All right. For businesses and corporations. But on the international scope, we're hearing talks of, cutting trade ties with several nations and all, which will be interesting to see how it helps the U.S. economy grow. All right. To develop. And at the same time, how that would lead to, alternate development in some of the smaller markets that people have to turn to at the end of the day once they no longer have patronage from the United States.
Adetola, you mentioned the high volatility, or both you and Chris did. Do you anticipate even more volatility around Inauguration Day? And which currencies do you think will be most affected?
Thank you so much for that question, Alison. Once bitten, twice shy. And honestly, we've seen this happen before. All right. It's not Trump's first rodeo in the White House. His last time in the White House was very, very remarkable. We had massive volatility in crypto. We had massive volatility in the Forex market. But talking about the major currencies that I think will be affected, we're going to be talking about USD CAD, basically, because the Canadian dollar is oil-based. All right. We're seeing already there's some tension between the United States and Canada. All right. So I would love to see how that plays out as soon as inauguration takes place. We're also hearing a lot of talk about the European government as a whole. All right. They are bringing up stricter policies against, corporations. And whereas the US is, lessening such burdens on corporations. So it's going to be interesting to see how that affects Euro USD as a commodity. All right. Because if we're getting to see more of those corporations begin to rely more in the United States or in the economy of the United States, that dynamic is definitely going to take, some pretty massive volatility into the markets.
Yeah. And then, moving on to the fiscal policies and more specifically the Federal Reserve. After last week's NFP, we saw that the market now expects the Fed to keep interest rates higher for longer. I'm seeing some analysts, I think Bank of America was saying that they're expecting that there's going to be no cut to interest rates at all this year. But how might Trump's proposed fiscal policies, how do you think they're going to influence the Federal Reserve's decisions? And how is that knock-on effect going to affect the US dollar?
You see, Chris, that's actually an interesting one. And the reason is because if we're talking about, lower taxes for corporations. We're talking about, more accommodating regulations. We're talking about cutting government spending, by introducing a lot of transparency into the system. It means that there's going to be virtually a lot of cash flow, all right, in the US economy. And, with more cash flow comes inflation. With more inflation comes, increasing interest rates. So definitely, I think that we're on course for, what analysts from the Bank of America, like you said, have already declared. All right. But what will be interesting to see is how, the tension, the geopolitical tension between America and some of our current trade partners, all right, watching how all of that plays out is going to be the major marker. We want to see, does this mean that, the US becomes self-sufficient? If they do, then we're seeing interest rates keep climbing. All right. But if somehow the trade ties that are getting caught leads to, more borrowing from, the US economy and probably even spending beyond budget, it means that we're definitely going to see interest rates get cut so that we can accommodate a lot more innovation in the economy.
Right. Interesting.
Well, so do you foresee Trump's policies posing risks or opportunities for emerging markets? I mean, we've seen what's happened to the Rand and the Naira, but what are your thoughts?
Alison, to be honest, I've never known Trump to be a blunt knife. All right. Straight to the point. All right. And that can both be positive and negative. In the hands of a skilled chef, a sharp knife is lovely. But in the hands of a little kid, a sharp knife can be dangerous. All right. So that's why I'm saying that, we're just going to have to keep our fingers crossed for the first couple of months. Because also, him getting into the White House, I'm sure that there's going to be a bunch of new information that he's going to have to take in. All right. That would also influence some of the costs he's already, trading right now. So I want to see how the new information that comes in from, the cabinet helps him shape some of these, policies that we're already talking about. However, I think that the major marker is supposedly positive for the U.S. economy. All right. From all indications, it should be positive for the U.S. economy. But, it's real life. All right. So it's not cut and sew. All right. There's a lot that could happen between now and then that would determine how these things actually play out.
Yeah. I mean, you described Trump there as a sharp knife that can go either way. And I think that's especially true for Forex traders now who are trying to prepare for Inauguration Day. And as you say, this first couple of months when we go in, what's your advice for people listening and watching this who are Forex traders who are preparing for Trump's presidency? What action should they be taking now to prepare their portfolios?
That's one very important question because with volatility comes a lot of uncertainty and a lot of people get caught in whipsaw movements. The initial recommendation to anybody in such moments of volatility is that minimize risk. All right. You want to settle for more short-term positions, all right, than, longer-term positions. So it's going to be a lot more favorable for people who are very cautious in their approach, because currently what's going to happen is not set in stone. So I would recommend that if probably you're a trader watching this right now, you trade for an hedge fund or something, please ensure that your portfolio is more short-term oriented. All right. And then once we have some more solid or concrete, direction for what's going to happen, then we can go all in. But, again, it's real life. Things happen. All right. That we are completely unprepared for.
Yeah, because it's unprecedented. We've had a Trump presidency before, but he's a different man than he was sort of, I don't know if you want to say 8 years ago when he was president then. So although you can learn from what happened there, I think you still have to be very cautious. And I think there are going to be new things happening that we've never seen before.
Yeah, certainly. Certainly. I believe that we're going to see a lot of things that we've not seen before. But at the same time, I also believe that because the presidency is not just him, all right, is a bunch of people, all right. So the cabinet, I think they're going to be doing a lot more to, put him in check on concerning certain matters, because now they should be able to predict more, how some of his decision-making processes work. All right. Because the first time there was, it was unprecedented. So a lot of people didn't know how to handle some of the policies and some of, the actions that he took. But I think now, a lot of people are more prepared to handle and address some of his spontaneous decisions.
Yeah, spontaneous decisions. That's a good way of putting it. Speaking of spontaneous decisions, I mean, we've seen crypto market undergo quite a shift since he won the election. And you were talking there about a little bit earlier about his the potential approach to deregulation. Do you think his presidency is going to influence also the regulatory landscape for cryptocurrencies? And what do you think this is going to mean for the broader crypto market?
Naturally, speaking as a market analyst, I think that without regulations, I think that, a lot of bad things can happen. And we've seen a lot of that happen already. We've seen projects, crash out on investors. We've seen a lot of really ugly things happen in the past couple of years. All right. So Trump has always been a pro-crypto kind of person. So I think that, a Trump presidency will see some form of regulation. It might not be strict, it might not be stringent, but I think that it's going to bring in some form of regulatory procedures into the industry, into the market. And I think what this means for crypto on a larger scale is that it's easier to get people to trust in a system where there are regulations. All right. So I think that with the Trump presidency and the regulations that come in, there would be increased trust and confidence in the crypto industry, all right, which would mean that we'll get to see, some more people coming into the market to invest and some better cryptocurrency adoption, basically.
That's a very interesting viewpoint. I haven't actually heard people talk about that before, but it's very interesting. And with the potential uncertainty around Trump's policies, do you think people are going to sort of use cryptos as a hedge, similar to what we see with gold?
That's another good one. Like I said, with Trump presidency, if we're able to have better regulations, it would definitely improve cryptocurrency adoption. And I think that is what will end up determining whether or not people can then use cryptos as a form of hedge against uncertainty. Okay, because the reason why people can use gold as a form of hedge is because, one, it's limited in supply, and all of the facts that, okay, there are regulations around it. All right. I can't just begin mining gold anyhow. All right. So if there are regulations, that are more economic driven around cryptocurrencies, it reduces the risk of money laundering and some other crazy things that we've seen happen. All right. Fraud, scams, and things like that. So if there are better regulations, I strongly believe that we could get to see cryptos becoming a form of hedge against uncertainty. But if the regulations don't come in, then I sincerely wouldn't be putting my eggs in that basket.
Yes. No, I think I agree with you on that one. That's a really good point. And we'll see exactly, as you said right now, it's all a bit questionable exactly what policy is going to follow through, but fingers crossed. And then finally for today, I just wanted to ask you a little bit about equities. We've seen the stock market, was initially and through December was quite optimistic about Trump taking office. And there still is, I think, as you were talking about the top of this interview, there's still general optimism when it comes to regulation and tax cuts. But do you expect this rally to continue now as he takes office, or are there risks of a correction in the US equities market?
Thank you, Chris, for that question. I think it's really important. It's a really important question for people who trade stocks, who trade indices, and people who also plan to invest. My opinion regarding that is simple. A Trump presidency, if we're able to follow through the policies we've already talked about, tax cuts, we're already having conversations about H-1B visas for skilled artisans or skilled professionals. All right. We're already talking about policies that are driven towards improving the industrial landscape of the US economy. If we're able to follow through all of these policies, without like I said, some spontaneous decisions to the contrary, I strongly believe that we should see the optimism continue. Okay, but once again, it's Trump. All right, we could wake up on the morning of inauguration and his speech goes completely, out of the blue. All right, completely shoots it out of the park. So I think that with Trump, anything is possible. But I strongly believe that the stock market optimism would persist at least for a couple more months, all right, before, a couple of people begin to consider taking profits and stuff like that.
Okay. Really cool. That's very interesting. Yeah. And I agree with you. I think exactly on Trump. You're right. Like as it stands, I think the rally will continue. But as you say, who knows with Trump? It's always tricky, which I think brings up your point about risk management back into focus. This is going to be very volatile now, and nobody really knows what Trump's going to do. So make sure you manage your risk really tight.
Well, I think that's about it. Thank you so much for joining us, Adetola. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, and we really hope that we get you on again. You've provided some very interesting insights.
Beautiful. Looking forward to it.
I think what would be great to have you on, Adetola, is maybe in a month from now, and we can see how your thoughts have panned out, and when we can look back over what's happened.
Totally fine. You call, I answer.
Super. Well, thank you so much again, Adetola.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.